Hey YouTube, Mark Crawford. This is part 3 of getting your CDL. I hope you've been writing the criteria down. It'll be very useful to you. If you haven't watched the first 2 videos, I would highly encourage you to back up and check them out. Basically, this criteria is an extension of part 2, which is the different things that affect you as a postgraduate driver. You've been assigned a trailer or a tractor, and you're on the road. Again, I want to reiterate, like I did in part 2, that these are the kind of things that you want to be aware of and educate yourself on to help you make a decision on what company to go to. One of the things you're going to see in a lot of advertisements is no-touch freight. It's just like it sounds. The driver doesn't touch the freight. It can be a little deceiving. Basically what that means, you're driving in, they tell you to dock, say number 14, you dock, and eventually they're going to unload you or load you. Some of these places get very crowded. They're short-handed, for instance, so it might be a while. Now the companies typically do pay you. Most of them do pay you. Very competitive now, but they might not start paying you for 30 minutes, an hour, or up to 2 hours. They'll pay you typically per the hour, anywhere from 12 to 20 bucks an hour. And that might sound like easy money. You're just sitting there, other people are loading you, and you're making $12 an hour, 20 bucks an hour. But hey, you're really better off if you stay on the road and keep rolling, because it's going to be more consistent pay, and for the most part, you're going to make more money. And I say that one of the reasons that you'll make more money on the road rolling is because when you're trying to get money for detention time, which is when you're loading or unloading, a lot of times there's human error. So people that are processing your check will drop it or forget it, and then if you don't see it in your check, then you got to call them up. This can take weeks, and it's very aggravating. So I don't put a whole lot of emphasis on no-touch freight. I actually put more emphasis on drop and hook percentage. What that means is you're coming in, you've got an empty trailer, you drop it, you're picking up a loaded trailer. You're not docking at all. You're just picking up a loaded trailer and you're out of there. I like that. In some DCs that are very well organized and flowing real good, you can get in and out of there in 15 minutes, 20 minutes tops. Ask the recruiters, find out about the companies on these sort of things, the percentage of drop and hook. They can range anywhere from 50 to 80%. Companies that are real low, like 50 or 60% drop and hook, that means that a good portion of the time you're actually going to have to dock and wait for them to load or unload. The rest of the time, like 40, 50% of the time, you'll have a trailer there ready to go. Now, a lot of companies are as high as 85% or 90% drop and hook, and that's typically going to be your larger carriers that have a lot of trailers, good customer relations, and those customers always have an empty trailer to load. So when you get up there, when you get to the DC, that trailer is loaded and ready to go. So that's nice. I want to talk real briefly here about APUs. I don't want to go into exactly how they work and all that kind of stuff. I think there's enough YouTube videos on that. But APU is an auxiliary power unit. It's used to power your climate control system, and when you're out of school, especially, you're trying to learn the ropes and get used to trucking. One of the things you're going to discover right off is, wow, it's hard to sleep. I don't get a good night's sleep as I do in my bed at home. One of the factors of getting a good night's sleep is climate control. If you're in a very cold environment, stuck in Colorado with a half-inch of ice on the ground, you want that heater. If you're like me in Texas, in July, it's 100 degrees, you want that air conditioner. You're going to sleep a lot better. Ask which companies have, or ask the companies how many trucks they have percentage-wise with APUs units. Because if you don't say that, if you just mention APUs, for instance, the recruiters will tell you, oh yeah, we got a bunch of trucks with APUs. Ask them, what's the percentage? 80%, 50%, 20%? If only 20% of their trucks have trucks, that means you have basically 20%, more realistically, less than 20% chance of getting one with an APU. And let me tell you, when you're right out of school, a student with very limited experience or no experience, so to speak, they're not going to entrust you with their brand new trucks. They're not going to entrust you with the trucks with the best equipment. They're going to stick you with some of the older units, and they probably don't have an APU. What do you do then? Well, you can open the vents and that sort of thing. it's still not going to work. You're going to be hot. So some of the companies are more lenient. They'll give you idle percentage or idle time. They have what they call idle programs. And there's little tricks of the trade. I won't get into all that, but there's things you can do to cool the truck down, then shut it off, and then actually get to sleep. And at that point, you're good to go usually. Some companies are very, very, very strict, and if you go over the limit, you're going to get reprimanded. They'll dock your pay, and eventually you'll get fired, booted out the door. So this is something to bring up to the recruiters and talk to them about it. A lot of the companies, like I said, have idle programs. They'll give you cash money if you can stay below a certain percentage. Sometimes it's a sliding scale, so that helps you to endure and like I said, talk to some of the older drivers or veteran drivers, should say. They'll give you tips on staying cool or warm in the wintertime. New York City, sometimes you'll see that in advertisements. It's kind of overrated, but a lot of companies don't do New York City anymore because a lot of the trucking companies are just staying regional rather than coast to coast and over the road type. But I will say this, not just New York City, but almost any area, if they say we don't force dispatch you to this area or that area, take it as a yes. You will be forced dispatch, even if they say it's your choice. And the reason I say that is because if you continually turn down loads, it makes it difficult for your manager, scheduler, whoever you're working with, to keep you on the road and keep you productive for the company. They'll eventually start moving you down the list, and you'll be sitting somewhere for 2 or 3 days waiting on a load. That's not good. You're not making any money, and the company's not making any money. So, you know, I can't emphasize enough, when you're right out of the starting block, student, do everything you can that they ask of you. Try to do more. The last thing I want to talk about here is the CSA rating. And let me cheat here. CSA rating stands for Compliance, Safety, Accountability. Compliance, Safety, Accountability. What that is, that's very important in your research and in trying to find a company to go with if you're training and driving. The better CSA rating is indicative of a company that takes care of their trucks and their drivers. CSA rating is compiled from data from inspections, DOT inspections, and things like that. And a company with a very poor rating is indicative of a company that don't take care of the trucks mechanically. They don't take care of the drivers, getting them home time, getting rest and things of that nature. So you want to take that in consideration. I hope this has all helped you, all this criteria and everything I'm spouting off. If you have questions, post them. If you don't want to do that, you can send me a private message or drop me an email. I'd love to help you out. But above all, stay safe out there, and may God bless you.